Yeah, I'm just going to ramble for a little while and see what happens. And if for some reason I get disconnected, I'm just going to throw this computer out the window. So.
You're listening to Sappenin Podcast.
Sappenin!
You are listening to episode 334 of Sappenin Podcast, feature myself, Sean Smith, and my good friend Morgan Richards.
Yes, it's me, Morgan Richards, and this episode is going to be legend. Wait for it. Legendary, because we have caught lightning in the bottle like a boomerang with jukebox references.
I hate that you had to go away and write that down and then come back to me and be like, right, I'm ready to record now. This week's guest is the very beautiful Brian Dales of the Somerset.
Hell yes it is. I've annoyed too many people on social media for too long to make this happen, but it finally has. The Somerset are back together.
Oh, not even just to make this happen. You've just annoyed. Go on.
Touring with new music, and they're finally on Sappenin Podcast. In the late 2000s to the 2010s, the band have cemented themselves as the ultimate feel-good pop versus punk experience with emotional sing-alongs, good times, and perfect pop culture references. They went on hiatus for 4 years in 2017, and ever since coming back have been filled with a new lease of life while continuing to spread positive sonic pick-me-ups we all need in our lives. This week, they announced their new album, Meet Me at the Record Store, is being released worldwide on August the 15th, with a full Europe and UK tour to support it in November 2025. So about time we had Brian on to talk all about it and give us an insight into not only the Somerset lore, but what really makes them tick.
Yes, we had a fantastic chat with Brian. Thank you very much to Brian and all of his bandmates who we bugged and everybody that knows him that we bugged to get him on. This was an absolutely fun chat. Some crazy fucking sentences. He mentions the catalyst for getting the band back together. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say dogs. I'm not going to say any more than that. Because I don't know how many bands have got back together because of dogs. He's been sober now for 5 years. We touch on that. Fucking congratulations to him. Over the moon for him. As you'll find out, he's going to fucking keep that going forever. There's no doubt about that.
Beautiful energy from a beautiful person who writes beautiful songs. The key word there is beautiful. And that's how you're going to feel at the end of listening to this. And if you regularly listen, you know sometimes we like to ask people the weirdest place they've ever played. Well, we didn't do that because we instead asked him, this is not a spoiler, but just we need you to prepare for this sentence. Have the Somerset ever played a summery set in Somerset?
Yes. I don't mean yes, they have. I mean, yeah. Well, that's what we asked. Guys, if you're new to this podcast, apologies, right? But also, if you're old to this podcast, it was going to happen when the band are called the Somerset. We're from the UK, where Somerset originated from, the place. I was obviously going to come up with a joke involving their name. That's it. I wouldn't mention anything else we talked about, but it's a very fucking good chat. It's very fun chat with a lovely, lovely human. So thank you again to Brian for giving us the time. It was a right laugh. And also thank you very much to Brian's wife for letting him use her computer to talk to us.
That's true. It's very, very vital.
And I'm so sorry to her if we appeared in her headphones at any time, because she apparently did have her headphones connected to her laptop. So sorry about that. But also, she probably didn't understand a word we were fucking saying anyway, so...
Nay, not a lot of people do, but we still managed to do this. If this is your first time listening to us, I'm very sorry. But head over to our social media pages, at Sappenin Pod, especially on Instagram. Give us a follow. Maybe take a screenshot of this and put it in your story. We'll share it and all that malarkey. But if for some reason you want to help us continue to make these daft, conversational, laugh out loud moments, each and every week, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com patreon.com/Sappenin, because over there, subscribing literally helps us make these. You get involved with a whole community of people who will become your new best friends. And we've just recently put out a blog update of so many random shit going on behind the scenes that we are looking to work towards and hopefully get over the line, including new merch, which might be out by the time this podcast is, if I can get all the work done. It might be, who knows. Sign up to the Patreon, you get the first links before anyone else, and you even get an exclusive discount code. So it's worth signing up just for that. Patreon.com/Sappenin.
I was going to say, if you should have taken anything away from this conversation, is that Brian said, just fucking chill out and stop putting the pressure on yourselves. And here's you like, oh, we got fucking new merch if I can fucking get it done. Ah! But yes, anyway, no more fannying about. That's a weird term to be using when we're talking about Americans, because they're going to think, no more arsing about. No, it's the same. It means the same thing, doesn't it? No more fannying about. This is Brian Logandale's of the beautiful Somerset. They're not called the beautiful Somerset. They're called the Somerset. I'm very sorry. You can literally hear the caffeine coming out of my mouth. Thank you very much to Brian.
Sappenin!
I'm fucking vibrating, yeah, man.
Sappenin!
Sappenin.
Hey!
Yes! Joining us at the moment is the absolutely beautiful Brian Dales of the magnificent The Somerset. How are you?
I'm better now. That's quite the introduction.
Oh, nice.
That's quite the introduction. And I haven't gotten a good intro in a while, so I'm definitely.
Come on, surely.
Who have you been talking to?
To be fair, well, I think the problem is that I've been talking to no one.
There you go. Then.
I think the real problem is that I don't speak to anyone. I don't leave my house. So,
I mean, you could just go in the mirror and introduce yourself constantly,
Sure.
but then that might just be. Well, we all need a pep talk. We all need positive reinforcement.
Honestly, I need to start just doing it myself in the mirror. My wife's not walking around going, Brian Dales from the Somerset.
The very beautiful Brian.
She's more like, what are you doing?
Brian, put your pants on. It's more that
pretty
than
much. More or less, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, well, that's quite a sad start, knowing that your wife doesn't call you beautiful, beautiful Brian Dales.
Yeah,
BBD.
Well, yeah,
BBD, obviously,
beautiful Brian Dales.
New merch idea. New merch idea straight off the bat.
Oh,
you can have that one. You can have that one. But seriously, man, thank you for coming on, because I have been trying to get either you or Jess on this podcast for years. So I'm very happy that it's finally happened. There's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of stories I want to share throughout this. But now, how are you doing just day to day at the moment, man? Like, what's going on? It's a very busy time for the Somerset. How are things just coming along?
Things are good. We're putting out a new album. Comes out August 15th. It's called Meet Me at the Record Store. We just put out the second single from the album, and it's only been out since Friday, but it had a really good showing in its first weekend, which was really fun. I've said this sort of since we gotten back together a couple years ago now, but like, I try to keep all expectation at bay so that everything is a fun little surprise. I know when we were younger, before we got the band back together, I think it was a combination of a lot of things. We were younger, and like the band was our entire livelihood, and like it always kind of felt like we were strangling it to death to make sure it worked. But like, I think there was just expectation was always really high. So it was just kind of always letting ourselves down one day at a time. So this time around, whatever happens, happens. And it's also great because it allows it, like when we're really busy, it doesn't feel that stressful, because it's kind of like, hey, whatever happens. So it's been great. We're kind of just putting the pieces together for what we hope is a really fun year. And album in August, tour plans to follow. We just announced a UK and Europe tour.
November.
For November. We haven't done any headline shows in mainland Europe in like 12 years.
Wow.
That'll be fantastic, though.
So a lot overdue. I think it'll be really cool. Tickets went on sale today. Well, I guess by the time this airs, it won't be today anymore.
Yeah.
By the time this airs, podcast. That's how this goes. We're not live right now.
Nice.
We're not.
Thank God. Yeah. Technology, eh? Technology.
So yeah, tickets are on sale now. I think it's all happening, which is super fun and really crazy.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, I can not sympathize, but I can feel with you on that same thing where I was talking about my band earlier. My band got back together in 2023 and I take care of everything for the band now. So I'm like the manager, the booking agent, the social media bastard.
And that's how I know about being a social media bastard.
Yeah. So no, I get you with it's a lot calmer this time round, and basically because I deal with everything, I try and keep it as the band know as little as possible. And if anything goes wrong behind the scenes, I just don't tell them. And then I try and put that fucking fire out. Is that on you? Or have you got management again? Or
we have the same management that had been with us since 2009. So we've had the same management for like 16 years. When we got back together, we knew, it was a no-brainer for us just to get right back in bed. Our management have managed. So John and Steven Gomez from our band do a lot of production for other artists. So and like film and TV stuff outside of the band. So even while we were broken up, they continued to, our management managed them managed their other band, managed their production stuff. So it was just a shoe. And immediately we got back together. It was like, where the pieces are already here. Let's do this. So we have management. We're loyalists. They've been with us forever. We've had the same booking agent since 2009 as well.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So we actually just sort of got right back in it with like the same team of people. I'm honestly more so surprised they were interested in getting back in bed with us. But we have a new record label this time around. That's the only difference. And it's a UK based label, which is fun for us. We had worked with them in the past. It's a label in the UK called Lab Records. And it was one of those. So we first worked with Lab on our first album in 2009. Yeah, everything goes back to 2009.
What a year. Oh, it's my favorite year.
What a year. So we put out an album in 2009 and Lab was the UK sort of acquisition right. So we didn't really work with them directly on anything about it, but they did all the UK distro and groundwork for UK and Europe. And we had a great experience. It was short-lived, but stayed in touch with Mark. And I think we were planning on putting this album out probably independently. We were entertaining different labels. I think we were interested in a label, but it just needed to present itself in a way that was different and compelling. We turned a few things down that didn't quite make sense. And then I remember we sent the album was already done. We sent the album to Mark and he just sent the most compelling response, just truly understood the entire thing. Even down to he had the same vision for what singles would come out in the same order as us. I was like, this is, wow. I was like, oh, you really get this. We had 5 songs in mind we were going to release for the album. And he had the same 4 out of 5. And I was like, this is a pretty good sign. I really connected. So we started talking to him about hey, we could use some help in the UK again. It sort of has felt like when we took a long break, it's felt a little bit like we've started over in the UK. What would it look like to put this album out with you guys in the UK? And he came back and was and kind of presented an idea for just full worldwide sort of label support. And it was a really compelling reason to do it. And so we did. And so now here we are.
Yeah, that's very cool to hear that a label has that much depth of interest, really, because normally it's just like yes, no, you know.
It was very depth of interest, and it was very like there's a lot of labels in the US now, at least like with my experience, who are offering these like 5-6 album deals. And I'm just like, which by the way, I should say, to be fair, no one's offering us that. I'm mostly thinking like younger artists are falling in that trap, but still, even for us, like 3 to 4 albums, who knows? But I see younger artists getting trapped in these like 6 album deals. And I'm just like, yo, be careful. Lab offered us, it was a 1 album and then we'll talk. And I was like,
perfect.
and it's like reverse psychology, because I'm like, I'll give you every album ever. It's like just purely on the merit that like you were willing to. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that, but I don't care. It's fine. I'm just gassing up Lab for how great they are.
Oh yeah.
I just found it so compelling. Yeah, I just found it so compelling that like it was like, hey, we trust you, you trust us, and we'll just keep working until it doesn't make sense anymore. And I was like, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to say, surely that's the future. Surely that's the future of
what I'm getting at is like, it should be. It's like, if you put together a really good plan for 1 album and it goes well, the artist will want to do it again. At least in my, like and that's my current experience. It's like, I'm already like, let's make the next one, because it's already been super easy. So
nice.
Yeah.
And because I don't feel trapped, and it's nice to not feel trapped.
No, of course. But I guess it's nice to hear that everything has come full circle, especially back to those 2009 vibes. But I think one of the things I really want to mention is that since you guys have come back, it feels a whole new energy of just kind of happiness, but on the simplistic of level between you guys. Like, you really are enjoying every part of the ride. And when you think back to the band's first incarnation, like, there was parts where it seemed like you were such absorbed by a machine of this pop versus punk touring cycle all over the US, going to the UK, Australia, that it just wore you out. How different is this second chance with the band being for all of you, kind of like emotionally, behind the scenes, mentally? It does feel like there's a big swing of the differences in all that.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. I have a lot to say on that subject. I'm trying to think of where to start. I mean, first thing I should say is like, yes, you're exactly right. Like, when we were younger, it was all of that. But in retrospect, when I look back at it now, it's like, I think it was all in my head. It's like you're projecting your own, because I realized like I remember when we were younger, like I'll use this as an example. There was a year where we did like Warped Tour and then some shows with like Carly Rae Jepsen, like back to back. And on Warped Tour, we were the pop band. And with Carly, we were like the punk band. And I remember, and that's where Figure Me Out, like the whole stem of that came from. Like the 2 pop for the punk kids, 2 punk for the pop kids thing, was not feeling like we fit in anywhere, and like that being a bad thing. And it's funny when I look back at that now, 10 years later, I'm like, it's my favorite part. It's like, oh, wait a second. Why was I so stressed about that? It's like, I actually think the thing about the Somerset that I love the most is that like, we're chameleons. Like I am certain we could play a show with any artist, and I could figure out how to make it feel compelling and entertaining. And like, that's part of the joy of it now. So there's that. I do feel like there's a lot of, when I was younger, just projecting things, like making it more complicated than it was. That said, with today, we're all older. We were able to, the other thing with when we were younger is like, we started this band when we were 17, and we spent 9 months a year with each other till we were like 26. So everybody kind of grew in these directions without giving anyone the space to like grow at all. So we were just getting our frustrations within each other. I think we're rooted in the fact that we like never gave anybody any space to grow or become the people they were. So one, just taking some time away and like becoming who we are now and like fully realized versions of ourselves has made this time around really easy. We all very much understand each other in a way that's much simpler. And we also now are like aware of like who's best at what roles. Like, let's not put too many cooks in the kitchen on each individual task. And like, that's been really helpful too, creatively, but even just like socioeconomically, it's like, I'm not great at the internet. So like, and John is really good at like, he's very type A and very good at like figuring out like a plan of like how we should go about our social media presence this time. It's like stuff that I am terrible at, but like when I was younger, I wanted to micromanage every detail. So now it's like, we all kind of know where we sit best. That also said, all four of us have enough going on in music that when we do the band, it's almost like the fun weekend dad side project, which ironically has made it all the better and more fulfilling. And like, it's like, if it's like some like subconscious, if we're able to all convince ourselves that the band is like, just like this, like side thing, it's easily working way better. It's more enjoyable. Every moment of it is cherished and feels like it counts, because like I do a lot of writing and production and composing stuff outside of the band. Jess, if we're not on tour, Jess is playing drums for somebody. And same with John and Steven, like they do a lot of sort of production work outside the band. So like all of us have enough going on where it doesn't feel like we're like strangling it to death for it to work. Because if it all came apart tomorrow, we all have enough to do still. That's probably the best way to put it. And then ironically, by taking our foot off the gas and taking like our hands off the neck, the whole thing feels way easier and is working way better than I could have ever imagined. So joke's on me. Apparently all I needed to do when I was 24 was like not try so hard.
Yeah. Fucking chill out. Yeah. It's like, I was trying, but I couldn't. I needed to try and make us as big as possible.
But it's so funny if you really think about it, like in anything in life, it's like, don't try so hard. People can tell when you're trying too hard. It's like,
yeah.
It's just like, it's so glaringly apparent, and like nobody wants to like lean in on something if it feels like it's like being pushed in their face. You got to like let people come in to you a little bit. So
yeah, I completely agree. What was the catalyst for the reunion?
COVID. For real. I don't know if it was a combination of a couple things. None of us, we didn't have any intention of really getting back together. Like I said, all of us had enough to do. And COVID happened. All LA goes in, I'm in Los Angeles. All four of us are actually. LA goes into lockdown, and I knew immediately I needed to get the fuck out of LA. I was like, LA is not the place I want to be during lockdown. At the time I was living in this like little 1-bedroom apartment too. I was like, I can't be here. I have to get out. I was also in like the middle of getting sober. So it's like, really, I was like, we need to leave. So I go back to Arizona where we started this thing. And like hung out with my parents. They live in the middle of nowhere. So it was like, it's like being like way out in like the remote English countryside as opposed to like being in like London. Like they're like, my parents don't even have neighbors. It's like, it's quiet up there. Like the nearest neighbor is like, you're not in eyesight. So I go there, it's peaceful, it's quiet, but like, I don't know anyone in Arizona anymore. I haven't lived there in a long time. Steven, our Gomez, he also went back to Arizona. He bought a house in Arizona during the pandemic. So he went back there, and we just sort of reconnected. First, just like we both had dogs, and we just like let our dogs hang out. And like,
wow,
our dogs hate each other, which is even funnier.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, what a beautiful moment to bring the band back together because of dog love. Oh no, they fucking hate each other. Actually, we tried to set up an illegal dog fighting ring in Arizona, and then we just thought, fuck it, let's get a band.
That's exactly right. So I bring my dog over to Steven's house, and Steven's dog hates my dog. We learned that very quickly, but turns out Steven and I don't hate each other at all.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
And so we just kind of first step was we just all had to be friendly again, which was great. And then what started as like just sort of Steven and I Steven kind of being the only person I knew in Arizona turned into us. I'm gonna zigzag a little bit, but so then also let's think about it's 2020. The world is basically on fire, and I'm in my teenage bedroom for the first time in like 15 years. So what do I naturally do in my teenage bedroom? I pick up a guitar and write a song like I'm a teenager again. It was like there were no rules or no like things that I had like learned in like by writing pop music for the last 15 years. It's like, what happens if you just like don't really overthink it and you just like write something? And I wrote Street Lightning just on an acoustic guitar. And it just was complete dog shit. It just kind of sat in my pocket and I was like, man, that felt really cool to like just sort of like write like I was 17 with like nothing to lose. I sent the voice note on my iPhone to Steven, and he started sort of working on like an instrumental sort of track for it. And it was just the two of us. And we kind of were like, wait, this is kind of cool. And so we recorded it and didn't tell anybody. And then we sent it to Steven's brother and to Jess. And they were like, is this real? And we were like, yeah, this is as real as you want it to be. And everyone was super fucking in. And so that's one side of the thing. But at the same time, it felt like culturally, like in the zeitgeist, like there was the beginning bubble of a moment where like people wanted something from bands like us. Our Spotify numbers were like skyrocketing without us even existing. And I think maybe that's because like during the pandemic, I know during the pandemic was like listening to stuff I listened to when I was a teenager. I think you just like are searching for comfort. So I think I found a lot of people were like listening to the Somerset. It's comfort food when the world is ending. So that's our slogan. The Somerset, comfort food for when the world is ending.
It's good to know the streaming numbers will go up during the apocalypse, though.
I know. Yeah, it's good to know that the streaming numbers go up during the apocalypse.
Yeah, but the problem is, you don't get to see the next quarter after the apocalypse. That's the problem. Totally. So you don't get to see any money from it. So shit.
Totally. Well, it's really fun. Yeah. Well, actually, in retrospect, it's really funny because like our streaming numbers went up during the apocalypse. Then Joe Biden was elected president at the end of 2020. America found a little bit of peace. And our streaming numbers went right back down. And ever since Trump got elected. And then Trump got elected again, and our Spotify numbers started going back up. So apparently people are searching. Apparently we're like a nice warm blanket for when chaos is in rule. Maybe.
Or you've become the racist's number one band.
Oh no!
It's one or the other for sure. When I think of the Somerset.
I can't wait to come to the show in November and just be there with loads of skinheads. Just me and skinheads.
Boy. What? Yeah, just bring a bunch of skinheads to the show. I love to fight.
Oh yeah, they love all the pop sing-alongs.
Oh yeah. But so the other thing that happens at the same time is a couple of these festivals had been reaching out to our agent asking if like the Somerset, like what would it take for the Somerset to like play a reunion show at like a festival? And so our agent texted me. He's like, hey, like, would you consider, he just texted me personally. He's like, would you consider playing the X Festival XYZ? And I texted him back. I was like, dude, this is going to sound crazy, but like, we've been making some new stuff. And so it was this combination of us being ready for it and the world wanting it to some degree, that made it just really, I think both of those things coming together at the same time is what really drove the impetus for us to like want to really dive all the way back in.
It's
so here we are.
It's so wild how things like that work out, and that's how things line up.
Yeah.
And I think the testament to all of it, though, is the fact that in that first run, you guys created such a loyal fan base that had the kind of this cult following who have always waved your flag. But it's mad to hear that, like, the ups and downs within that, but knowing that, like, oh, there's always people who want it, and then you can find your way back to them.
Yeah, 100%. We've kind of learned that, like, yeah, there's a loyalty that I think I took for granted when I was younger that I'll never take for granted again.
Your story is so similar to mine. It's fucking freaky.
Really?
Yeah, it's very strange, yeah. Like you were talking about that, like the promoter thing. I was literally, your agent, I was literally at a wedding and I had a phone call from a fella I know who runs a festival. And he was like, what would it take for your band to get back together? And I was like, we rehearsed for the first time yesterday. And he went,
that's
what?
Really funny.
And he was like, I'll be back with an offer next week.
That's really funny, dude. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. It's like, make people come to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is really funny.
It's just having something in the universe that something in the universe knows. I think listening to everything you said as well, it just seems like during that first run, what really gets a band into that spot where they need a break is all that pressure to have this as their full-time thing and for it to work out because it's the only thing kind of occupying your life for such a long time. And you've referenced it there. Now that you guys have all these other things on the side, it works now because you can all decide when you want to do it. And it seems night and day in between.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly right. It's funny how just glaringly obvious it is now. When in retrospect, it was like such a difficult pill to swallow.
Yeah, so basically, when we cut our band, we could have probably gone, let's make this a weekend thing. But we were so into it at the time that we were like, we need to be apart. We need to be away from this. And then a lot of the band members struggled after it for like a year or two because they were, so-and-so from the blackout or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you go through any of that? Or were you just so busy with other things that you just jumped straight into them?
When we were broken up.
Yeah.
I definitely did. So, but like it sort of went in waves. I can't maybe speak for everyone. But from my own experience, yes. I mean, we broke up. I made the sort of solo EP that was sort of this like Bryan Adams, Bruce Springsteen kind of like a big rock record. But I didn't really have any plan for it. I just played around in LA a lot. And I never could figure out how to like make it feel at home within myself. And I just think the timing of it was also kind of a mess. And I just didn't want to work very hard. But so I did that for a second, put out an EP, and then kind of just like let that fizzle away. Tried my hand at some other things, and so I never felt like Brian from the Somerset for a while. But then toward the end of our sort of hiatus, maybe for a year or two, when I kind of had no identity elsewhere, it became like, started to feel like Brian from the Somerset again. And that's when I was like, hey, you are this, like whether you always will be this, like, that's okay. Maybe actually you should explore being that again. But like, yeah, there was definitely, it went in waves, but there was especially in 2019, which was a sort of a darker soul searching year for me. There was an identity crisis of just being like, I have no idea. I had also at the same time, like in 2019, I had kind of burned out from doing a lot of the writing for other people, stuff that I had done for a long time. Was just like, even that was, so I was working on a few projects, that were a little like, thankless isn't the right word, but like, they weren't things that were going to see the light of day anytime soon. So I kind of felt like I had no identity. It's like, oh, I know I'm working on some stuff that I think is really cool, but like, I go out to a bar at the end of the night and like, who am I to a stranger? It's like, I kind of have no identity right now. And that was pretty tough. I imagine that's the same for John and Steven had started a band called Twin XL that had a little moment in sort of indie space, and they got to do that for a second. I can't speak for Jess, but I'm sure it's like, I mean, I can't speak for her, but I am like, Jess does drummer for hire pretty often whenever we're not on the road. She plays drums for everybody. And to me, from my outside view, her being Jess from the Somerset, while then also like being out playing drums for Jax or something like that, is just fucking cool. It's super cool. So
Very cool.
I don't know. Maybe she just figured out how to like really own it and be awesome. Whereas I turned everything into a identity crisis.
Snap. Yeah.
But would you say that hiatus period was just full of reflection and like an honest look at real life for you? Because you mentioned there about trying to get sober and kind of moving and like everything else in between. I'm sure like in retrospect, that needed to happen really to kind of move forward as a person.
100%. I mean, we did a conversation as a band for a video. God, it must have been 2 years ago now, but like kind of about, it was almost us like airing out our therapy live or talking to each other. And I would say, like, cause I'm the one who pulled the rug out back in 2017 or 16 or whatever it was when I was having a quarter life crisis. I wanted to do some other things, not just to say I did, just to like, I remember I was like 26 thinking like, I'm too old now. And if I don't do something new, I'll never get a chance to. And so I pulled the rug out from underneath it. And I think there was some resentment to me for that, which is totally fine. It wasn't handled great. But I also know in retrospect, I think everyone agrees that it was the right thing. Because like we're better than ever. And I think it allowed all of us to have these sort of well-tailored individual experiences that make this go around just so much easier.
But you've kind of mentioned it in some of the lyrics for some of the new songs. But with the mention talking about sobriety and stuff, like it seems that...
Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's 5 years, right?
5 years.
Wow.
Fair play.
5
Fair
years.
play to you.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like, I'm almost superstitious. My life is so clearly better without it that like, there's no difficulty on my end of like worrying I'm going to like take a step backwards. My life is so clearly better without it that it's like, it's almost a joke.
Wow.
It's like there's some God laughing in my face every day of just like, look how much better you are. So it's like, so I'm almost superstitious at this point. There is no turning back. It's so Good. Glaringly obvious.
No, that's very wonderful to hear. Because the point that I was going to make is that obviously, like, especially back then, there must have been such a kind of pressure and like expectation with touring life that you need to be drinking on the road, go to the after parties and live that kind of quote unquote rock and roll lifestyle, even though you didn't. And like, it seems like the benefits of realizing that has spoken true to you ever since.
100%. It's also funny. It's like our live show is so much better without me going on stage, having a drink or two. Not that it was nothing, but like I had the blessing and the curse of like, I could drink all night and my voice be totally fine the next day. My vocal cords seem to be made of just fucking steel. So it was kind of fine. But there's a different sort of achievement of just like presence in the moment that I am finding when we play now. We're playing longer, like we're playing for 90 minutes. Like you have to drag me off stage. I'm trying to play every single song in our discography. It's like a marathon for me now. And like, I'm just like really like connected in a different way. It's just like, I think about like presence a lot. And that's just like abundantly different in our live show now compared to what it used to be. Where it's like, I think maybe in the last year before we broke up, I think I spent a good amount of our live sets just like thinking about what we were going to do after the show or just wanting to move on. I don't feel that way anymore. Now you have to like drag me off stage.
Good. Yeah. That's beautiful to see. And yeah, just seeing you smiling a bit as well. This is an audio only podcast, so this is stupid. But just to see you fucking smiling and people can hear your happiness.
Hey, to everyone listening at home, I'm smiling right now.
Listen. I was trying to make my cheeks make a noise. Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Face cheek.
No, we love the positivity and we love the positive messages on this. Another thing, as a fan of the Somerset, I wanted to bring up because I think this is something that's really connected people to the band over the years, especially back in the day, is just kind of your pop culture references within the lyrics, right? And like throwing it back to some stuff and whatever. Where did all that begin? Was that just kind of you as a kid, like naturally putting those in songs, or was there a point where you realized that like you had a knack for like referencing things as well as emotions and feelings? I
think, you know what, first thing that's funny is like, I've been doing that for a while, and I think like it's kind of steadily become more of a thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because Adidas is really like chock full of them, but it's finally really feeling like people are associating me with that. And I'm just sitting here, I feel like I've just been waiting for this moment of gratification. It's a couple things. I mean, one, I think I've just always, first and foremost, I'm just a student of culture. Like I just am always fascinated by like changing of trend and how things move. And like, maybe I'm just like a lifelong Saturday Night Live lover, but I'm always just sort of like living in a perpetual Weekend Update in my head. But like, it's also that. And like, I've always found it like hip hop does it all the time. From Drake to Kendrick to Jay-Z to Eminem. Like, I think like sort of cultural referencing within a lot of like in rap music and hip hop is very prominent. And I've always kind of wondered like, what would that look like in like a band? That and like also, I think mostly I just have an affinity for seeing like what rhymes with other things. And sometimes like you just got to open up the box of like what your possibilities are. Sometimes you have to rhyme something with Dawson's Creek or something like that. And, which actually that's a different story, which I think also ties into this. There's a song on our 2013 album called Jukebox where I make a reference to Dawson's Creek, which is really, and it's random. And I remember our label at the time, someone at the label, really having some pushback on that lyric. He's like, man, this song is a total hit. I feel like that lyric is maybe like, it just like sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't know if it's good. And I pushed back pretty hard. I was like, I'm certain it's right. We kept it on. And that lyric in that song in our live show is one of the loudest parts of the entire set. I don't even sing it. We stop everything and just you go hear 1,000 people scream, I'm a little obsessed with Dawson's Creek, is like the dumbest thing you've ever heard in your life. And that's what I live for. And so I think maybe, yeah. And it's like, also at the end of the day, like I'm always really fascinated when someone can like, how do I phrase this? Like you're walking a thin line. Sometimes like it could, you're walking a line where it could be very corny. But my philosophy on that is like, if you do it and it feels true and it's honest to you and you sort of just like body it, you go from corny to just skyrocket cool. Yeah. And I don't even mean just for myself, but it's like, I think that's the fucking, I mean, it's a perfect example. Like rappers do it all the time and it's just cool as hell. Like, so for me, it's like, I am always sort of trying to flirt with that line between like store thumb and like essence of honesty. And like, so that's always it's like a fun little game for me. I also am just like, like I said, I'm just obsessed with seeing what rhymes with what. Yeah. But like, I mean, another sort of anecdotal story I think about all the time. I remember we were on tour with All Time Low when Legendary came out. This is the story I should have probably led with for this now. That I think about it. This will summarize this. This will summarize this way better because it's just true. I remember sitting with Alex Gaskarth from All Time Low after one of the shows. And he was talking about our song Legendary, where the chorus lyric is, "I spent too many nights watching How I Met Your Mother alone." Mm-hmm. On paper, should be the corniest thing you've ever fucking heard in your life. I remember Alex literally saying to me, he's like, dude, it's true. It's a testament. Like that should be one of the corniest things I've ever heard, but it sounds so brutally honest and sad and real when you sing it. And he's like, that's such a impressive sort of, I don't remember how he phrased it, but it always stuck with me of like, that's where I want to live. Because like, I remember the lyric itself was written from a real place. I had just gotten like what I thought was my heart broken. Turns out I was just, not what that was. But I had a relationship that sort of was a crash and burn real fast and then big nosedive. And I had sort of just moved to LA and I basically binged watched 7 seasons of How I Met Your Mother while getting drunk every night. And then the lyric was born of just but it came from a place of heartbreak, which it's like, you can take this sort of cultural thing and find a version of it that feels heartbreaking. So for me, I remember writing that lyric, and you can just, at least hopefully, you can tell when someone's being honest and when someone's being real. That's all that really matters. Yeah. No, completely. And I can relate to actually sitting and watching How I Met Your Mother alone many times. That is the perfect show for a heartbreak.
Boys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that, boys. There's plenty of other comedies out there.
It's the little detail. I'm not going on How I Met Your Mother rant. I could do a whole fucking podcast about that.
Let's. Thank you very much for today's podcast. Morgan, let's fight. No, but carry on, Bryce.
Yeah. No, but on the other side to that, and especially from the opposite.
Wait a Morg, he had a point. He had a point he was going to make. Brian, the floor is yours.
Oh, I had a point? Oh, no, my point was gone.
Oh, nice one, Morg. You've ruined it. Now, he was just about to give us gold. He was going to tell us where the bodies were.
Or what I was probably going to do was tell the same story twice. So I was probably about to do was just repeat myself.
Well, what I was going to ask was on the opposite of that reaction to the Dawson's Geek one as Creek as well is, have you had any now where you look back and you think that reference might have aged slightly badly, or think it didn't hit as easy as I thought it would?
Not age badly, but I have a perfect example. Boomerang. Our band's most popular streaming song. Mm-hmm. I didn't write the chorus of that song. by the way, not in like a negative way. Like I would take, if someone wrote, a friend of mine who we wrote the song with, who I still write songs with to this day, who I love, it was an idea. We were struggling in the studio one day on a different idea. And this friend, who's a very successful songwriter, we had kind of hit a wall on this other idea. And he's like, yo, I got this other thing. And he kind of like riffed off the chorus of Boomerang, if I was Jay-Z. And we were like, oh, that's got like some vibe. Like that's pretty catchy. Mm-hmm. And so we made that song around it. I didn't really think much of it. Yada, yada. Here we are 13 years later. And you can just, that song doesn't do, even though that's our most streamed song in our live show, it doesn't really have the same sort of gravitas that some of our other ones do. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a great use of references, but it's a perfect example of like, oh, it doesn't really mean anything to me. There's no like truth behind it. And I think you can tell. It's like it doesn't hold up the same because there's no like emotional attachment necessarily. For better or for worse. I have like no qualm with that song, but it's like, oh, you can here's the major difference between one that came from a place of reality and one that was like sort of pitched in imitation to what I like to do. That's sort of to me the perfect representation of what the difference is.
Oh wow, okay, that's very interesting. That's very interesting to hear because, as you said, it is one of your most streamed songs, and I would have thought
literally is our most streamed song.
I would have thought everyone would have just been stoked to do the back-in fucking harmony on the chorus because that always stuck in my head. Yeah,
they do. No, I mean, sorry, I should say, like, I mean, the song definitely goes off on a live show, but it is different. I don't know how to explain it. And maybe that's what the answer is. It's like, there is a different sort of, in a spiritual kind of sense, there is just definitely something different. And that's interesting. I think people can tell, like, but like, the song still like goes off in a live show, but it holds different weight.
I love the idea that your most streamed song is absolutely silent when you play it live. Like everyone's just like,
yeah. Can you imagine?
And as soon as they finish, you go silent. Like,
I know.
As soon as you finish it,
they cheer when it's over. That's funny.
Like Japan. I mean,
the song definitely goes. Yeah, like Japan, exactly. I mean, that song goes off in our live show. It's just something different is happening emotionally.
Okay.
And it's funny. I remember that day distinctly. We were like kind of hit a wall in the studio, and our friend, who's a great songwriter, had that sort of idea, and it was that moment of being like, oh, that feels like something I would do. It's got the sort of references, it's got the tongue in cheek thing that feels like me, and there's a difference between what feels like me and what is me.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Well worded.
Is there being a lot of that when you've written for other people? Like, is there being that connection where it's like, I'm writing a song for someone else and you're trying to envision what works for them versus what works for you as a songwriter?
I'm pretty good about that. I don't really try to do the sort of cultural thing when I'm with other people.
Yeah, of course.
Unless it's something they're really, I'm pretty good at, or at least I've definitely gotten better at it. Like I said earlier, it's like I kind of like being a chameleon in the room. It's like I listen to a lot of different types of music. I feel, at least especially today, I feel very confident and comfortable as a writer in several different genres. So I hard to speak about like maybe who I was 10 years ago, but like I'm pretty confident if I were to go into a room with an artist now, it's, to me, the sort of like the best used tool is like knowing how to figure out like how to get to the crux of like who they are. However, the other irony is like, I wrote a song on the new Nox album, and Nox does the pop culture thing left and right. and ironic, which is, so you'd think it would be a shoe-in, and our song has none of it. So the irony is Knox kind of can like throw down on the cultural stuff.
Yeah.
The pop culture stuff left and right. And yeah, I wrote the first song on his album. It's called Now and Then. I co-wrote with him, and it has nothing of the sort. It's funny. There's another song on his album called, I think it's called You Happened. And I think about it all the time because I was like, this literally sounds like a song I wish I wrote. It has so many of these just wonderful sort of nuanced to like pop cultural moments. And it just makes me laugh. And it's like, I didn't write that one.
It's funny. It's funny how all that works out. It's really funny how all that works out. Is it being, for people who just don't know, like, who have you written with over the years that people might be surprised by or just not have known that there's a song of theirs out there that has your flavors to it?
I mean, there's a 5 Seconds to Summer song. Nice. I just had an artist. Knox just came out. But then there's a couple like sort of I have a song on a Rob Thomas album from Matchbox 20. That's a really
that's cool.
Yeah.
How the fuck did that come about? Sorry for swearing. I got excited.
That's a different story. I don't even know where. That's for another time. I don't know where to begin because I was never in the room with him. That's the other part that's even funnier.
Wow, okay.
It was like no, but the irony is on our second album, Everything's Fine. There are 2 songs written with Kyle and Paul from Matchbox 20. So I had already written with his band on Somerset stuff 15 something years ago. Me and Paul Doucette from Matchbox 20, and then to end up having the Rob Thomas song. It was something that started as one thing that got into it kind of came across his desk essentially. And it was rewritten to become a very different thing. So I'm not really taking a lot of credit for the song because what it had started on as mine and what it became are totally different things.
Shut up and take it, man. Shut up. You fucking wrote a song for Rob Thomas and that's the end of it. Yes.
Sure. Fuck. We were never in the room. I would love to be. I am such a fan. And then the irony is I had already written, Paul had helped out with a bunch of our second album. There was a song in the U.S. by a sort of duo called Life of Dylan that did really well a few years ago. I don't know. I have done some stuff recently for the Cab.
Wow.
So we'll see. A couple things that are coming. A couple things that hopefully are coming out this year. We'll see. Who knows?
If you could write for anyone at all, apart from the Blackout, who would it be?
Apart from the Blackout, let's see. I like this question. I'm going to marinate on this for a second. I'm just going to blurt out an answer in I'm just going to blurt out an answer.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. I don't know.
Okay. Well, this kind of ties into something else I wanted to bring up because obviously we've said that you have a new album coming out August 15th, which is called Meet Me at the Record Store. But I want to talk about your record collection because at your wedding, you did the very unique and quite cool thing as a music fan to get all your guests to buy you vinyls instead of gifts. So you must have quite the collection off the back of that alone.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, kind of already had a bit of a collection, and that's just seemed like a reason to continue it. It also was people got us records that I already had, but that's half the fun of it. So now I have 6 copies of Fleetwood Mac Rumors, so that's fine. Which, by the way, is a really funny record to give someone for their wedding gift. It's an album that's just about people breaking up with each other.
Yeah, it is. It is when you think about it.
So for those listening at home, my wife and we got married on New Year's Eve, and in lieu of doing a registry, because we didn't need another coffee maker or a set of kitchen pots, But part of me thinks like, I mean, look, the registry was built around the idea of when people would get married when they were super young and they were moving in together and they didn't have kitchen supplies. It's like, my wife and I lived together a long time. We don't really need it. And we're sort of minimalists. We don't really need.
We've been eating with our hands and cooking with a lighter this whole time.
I don't need another set of steak knives. It's like now often when people give me stuff, I'm angry. But like, so I'm not going to take credit for the idea. I think we were watching like the Tonight Show. We were watching Jimmy Fallon or something. And I believe it was Hillary Swank was on the couch with Jimmy Fallon talking about how they did this thing at her wedding where they had all their guests bring them a record on vinyl that they loved, that meant something to them, and like write a card as to like why. And we just thought that was the coolest thing and solved all of our problems because like we didn't want people to like gift us anything. Like you coming and spending the night with us on New Year's Eve, that was enough of the gift. Like you sharing your time was enough. But then this felt really special. So we did that, and it was a total home run. And like now I have now I have like records I would have never imagined getting in my entire life. Like just like some really random shit, which is also so much fun. And so like then the next plan is just to start like putting one on every morning and just like listening to an album in full. Like, I think I miss that sort of experience. Like, obviously we live in the streaming world now. It's like, there's something about putting on an album and like listening to it front to back that like, I kind of want to have back into my life. Now, granted, we got married 4 months ago and we haven't started yet, but we will, I swear. But the irony is like, that perfectly ties into like what we're doing with Meet Me at the Record Store. And the other sort of in a very kismet way, these two things were totally separate ideas, which now feel like they've totally connected. But like, I remember maybe a year ago, John and I were having this conversation of like wanting to figure out how to, we made an album that really felt like an album to us, but we live in a streaming world where people listen to one song at a time, and that's great. But like, and we can't change that, but how can we make this feel more like a call to action to like listen to an album, or like make you feel like you're taken back to a place where like you are surrounded by albums you loved. And that's where Meet Me at the Record Store was born. And then all the record gifts at our wedding, it just felt like all these things just sort of happened like in unison, which was really special.
Nice.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's the universe aligned.
Very much so.
Yeah. So running theme with these stories. The universe is just
I know.
on your
really,
side.
Truly,
it's on your side.
Really, I hope so.
I don't want to put any wedding guests on blast, but what was the best and worst of the records you got?
Oh.
My brother got, okay, this is both the best and worst at the same time. My brother got me an original pressing from like 1986 or whatever the year of the original West End cast recording of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats on vinyl.
Wow.
It's somehow both the best and worst thing ever. And it's like, it's an old pressing. And like the artwork is fading off. And I was like, this is so tight. It's so dumb. And I can't, and it just makes me laugh.
Nice. Have you listened to it yet?
I haven't listened to it yet. I'm scared.
Okay.
I'm scared. It's when the Cats movie came out in like 2020 or end of 2019.
Oh, I remember that.
Which like truly, it's like just like the worst movie ever made.
Fucking James Corden.
I saw that movie. So there was a theater here in LA that was doing what they would call rowdy screenings of Cats. They just turned it into like a drinking game. And I went like three times because it was so fun and so bad and so funny. So like me and a couple of friends, I've done a bit of theater here and there in LA, like in my off time. And I somehow saw Cats like 3 times in theaters, and then shortly after the pandemic started. So I'm a little afraid to listen to Cats in fear something bad will happen.
Yeah, every time you hear it now, a new virus appears on Earth. That's what it is. Like.
More or less.
Please don't.
So I'm a little afraid to put it on because I'm worried that like my affinity of cats may be causing global pandemic.
Oh, listen, from everybody else on Earth, please don't listen to that record. Please.
Yeah. I'm just going to let it sit on the shelf.
Yeah, probably best. It's probably if it's an original pressing, it's probably worth something. So maybe just sell it. Can we do that, or is that too harsh?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Do vinyl. Yeah, do vinyl. Yeah. Maybe I'll just sell it.
Maybe.
I don't know what the sort of the inflate on albums goes for these days.
Oh, it's the first pressing. It's got to be.
Oh, it depends.
Got to be a couple of quid.
There'll be a collector somewhere.
So.
There'll be a collector somewhere.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, Brian, we won't take up too much of your time because we realize it's very early there and you have a whole day to actually do and live. But one question
Guys, it's 10 a.m. I've been up since 6. It's fine. And I have nothing else to do. We can hang out all day.
Oh,
in that case.
Nice. Well, that's it then, yeah. What are we recording this nonsense for?
One question we normally ask bands is the weirdest venue that they have ever played. But me and Sean realized the obvious joke that we need to ask you instead.
Right. Do you want me to go for it?
Yeah, sure. You set it up, Sean. You set it up.
Right.
I'm leaning in for this.
Has the Somerset ever played in Somerset playing a summary set?
We have never played in Somerset. And it feels like a missed opportunity.
Well, yeah, there's one in New Jersey, obviously.
Well, so we took our band name from Somerset, New Jersey.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
It's not a good story. We were 17 and we just like looked at an atlas and we saw it. And we were like, we could rearrange that and it'll work. It's not a good story. I have no affinity to Somerset, New Jersey. So,
but that's taken from Somerset in the UK. Surely, it's one of those many American towns that are named after British places.
Isn't there what festivals in Somerset, UK? Isn't there one?
Oh, there is.
I mean, there is. 2,000 Trees isn't in Somerset, is it? Wait, I'm trying to work it out.
It's like is Cheltenham in Somerset? I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
There's something in Somerset, UK that's like a pretty prominent festival, and that I want to play because it feels...
Well, just make up your own. Do your own. The Somerset presents a Somerset in Somerset. It's there. I've written it for you. I'll co-promote.
Okay.
I'll co-promote.
I was gonna say this. All right, hold on. I was gonna say this out loud. I just Googled. I did some Googling. I was about to say this out loud, but like you guys being UK natives and not saying it first made me start to second guess whether or not I was correct, and I didn't want to seem foolish. There is a festival in Somerset, England. The most popular one being called Glastonbury.
Oh, I've heard of that.
yeah. So I would like to play Glastonbury.
Yes,
that would be cool.
That would be good. Actually,
that would be okay.
But seriously, I reckon. Yeah, if you got the label to push Glastonbury for the Somerset in Somerset being the Somerset, I tell you now, Glastonbury would be fucking idiots not to take that, wouldn't they? Because that's perfect.
I agree. We're playing a festival in the US this summer called Summerfest. That's really popular here.
Yeah.
So the Somerset at Summerfest. There's a touring festival here in the US called Sad Summer. That we played some of last year.
Do you just do that acoustically then and play all the sad songs? Because that's what you should do.
We don't have any sad songs. But we made a shirt that said, "I saw the Somerset play a Somerset at Sad Summerfest."
You've nearly done it. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So
I knew I wasn't original.
No, dude, I love a pun. Like I said, remember, I love a pun and I love culture.
Okay. Yeah, because we were also thinking it's the perfect location for a live album, the Somerset Live in Somerset.
At Somerset.
Right? See, no, that's actually a good idea. I haven't thought of that. We should do that. A live album, the Somerset Live in Somerset.
Yeah, I don't like how you've technically just shot down my idea by saying that's a good idea when I just got on 10 minutes about how good I think Somerset in Somerset plays.
Your idea was a great idea. It's just that
it's too late. No, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
We already made the shirt. I'll send you one if we have it anymore.
No, if it doesn't say Somerset, England, I'm not in.
It doesn't.
No, right. But yes, no, thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for this chat. Thank you for the music over the years.
Of course, guys. Thank you.
I would love to do one of these in the flesh in November, if possible, because you are coming to Cardiff.
It feels like something we should do in the flesh. I don't think we've been to Cardiff in 12 years, so let's do it.
Wow.
Nice. Yes. And I'll bring a vinyl. Do you want a vinyl, or would you I'm just thinking about getting it home. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll find something to bring you then. Yes, here we go.
Yes. Perfect.
Let me write it down. Let me write it down.
Yeah. I hope that's the thing. I hope people just start bringing me records on the road, too. That'll be fun.
Well, let me tell you, you're going to regret ever fucking saying that now come those UK dates, because people are going to...
Yeah.
You're going to go home with about fucking... You're going to have to buy another suitcase, which is more luggage to pay for.
That'll be tricky. Trying to figure out how to fly back from England with a bunch of records, that'll be complicated.
That won't go that well.
We'll see.
Yeah, unless people buy you vinyls with download codes on them, and then you can leave them all in a venue.
Not the same.
No.
Oh, God. But Brian, thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course, guys.
Really, really appreciate this. And yeah, good luck now with everything and the new record, and can't wait to see you back in the UK in November.
All right. Of course, guys. This was a pleasure. All right. See you guys.
You're listening to Sappenin Podcast!
Yes! Yes. That was the lovely Brian Dales of the Somerset. What a lovely chat. What a beautiful human. As you will see from the photos we post of him and the videos we will release sometime next week of him chatting. Gorgeous fella. Seems like a gorgeous soul. I'm very, very happy that he's staying sober and is sober, and very excited about possibly seeing him in November.
Yes, very, very excited. This whole conversation was a kind of a bucket list tick throwback moment for me, really, especially because so many people I grew up with in the scene loved the Somerset. They were kind of such a gateway for people liking pop music and emo music, and someone you would show your friends to try and get them on side, especially when you were trying to go and watch other bands like We Are the In Crowd and Mayday Parade and everything else in between. So it's just a really nice experience to see them back together, having a laugh, putting out some really catchy music and being able to talk all about it. I really appreciate the fact Brian took time to do this. And I would love to get Jess on this podcast eventually in the future as well, because she is a wonderful drummer and even plays for our good friend Cassidy Pope now and again.
Ooh.
So excuse to talk about her.
Nice.
And there's so much love, there's so much connection. Please make that happen.
Yes, and also, if you're going to see the Somerset in November in the UK or Europe, just take your favourite, if you've got a copy of a vinyl hanging about that you love, take it. Take it along and give it to Brian. Because I want to see Brian with a giant suitcase full of vinyl that he can't afford to take home.
Just that photo of him at the airport looking sad that he has to not take the vinyl with him.
I just had to spend $400 on a new suitcase because you lovely bastards give me CD, give me vinyls, give me big CDs, not compact discs. Surely that's what it should be called. Vinyl should be called discs that are not compact.
Well, they are just starting discs, they really. I don't get why that.
So 2025 and I've realised what fucking vinyl should be called after CDs have become fucking
obsolete.
Obsolete. Yeah. I'm losing my mind.
We both are. I don't know what's going on anymore. If you do, follow us at Sappenin Pod on Instagram. Screenshot this, put it in your stories. Tell a friend. Send it to them.
You won't. They won't.
But it would fucking help.
Won't.
But you don't want to help us
shit,
too.
Man.
Yeah,
they're all scared, man. They're all fucking scared, man. They're all pussies. They're all fucking scared. They're fucking posting.
They're even more scared and terrified of joining our Patreon at patreon.com/that's happening.
But it's pointless bringing it up. Everyone is a big old scaredy cat when it comes to joining our page. People are scared of making brilliant friends and having news and discount codes and stuff for festivals early. Oh, people are so scared of it. It's mental. Grow a backbone. Join our Patreon. Like the following top people. Thank you very much. Kylie Wheeler, Janelle Caston, Paul Ishfield, Tony Michael, Dilly Grimwood, Scarlett Charlton, Mitch Perry, Nathan Croshaw, Johanna, Jonathan Gutierrez, Molly Malloy and James Bowerbank, Amy Louise, Kat Besant, Amy Hogg, Ian Gent, or Gent, he hasn't confirmed. Thank you very much. Chris Howard, Jenny Robson, Amy Dawson, Scott Jones, Mayumi, Stuart McNaught, Ellen Southfield, John and Emma, Jennifer Dean, Caroline Robertson, Jenny Munster. I'm going to go with, it's got to be Gaynep. Geynep. Gaynep? Geynep. Gnep. I've said all the possible word combinations that could be. Thank you very much. Louis Cook, Carl Pendlebury, James McNaught, Jason Heredia, Martina McManus, Danny Eaton, Span, Craig Harris, Thomas O'Neill, Ollie Amesbury, Dan Peregrine, Emily Perry, Adam King of the Goss Parslow, who is in the Nightmares, who are having a fucking nightmare because they think they're splitting up in later this year, and I'm not fucking having it. So don't do that. Thank you very much. Kalila Keane, Lamden Lee Martin, Josh, holy shit, I'm getting married today, Crisp. Congratulations! Yay! See you tonight. Thank you very much. Laura Russell, Fraser Cummins. Oh, here we go. Sophia Zuravska. No, it wasn't that hard. Sophia Zuravska, Kyle King of the Sloth Smith, and Connor Lewins and family. Thank you very much to all of those people and everybody who's part of our Patreon. If you're thinking about joining, don't be a pussy. Nothing rhymes with that. Join our Patreon, please. Yeah, so we
final words have never been said. I think we should just wrap this up right now.
Please. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thank you again to Brian. Thank you to the Somerset. See you in November, hopefully, in the pit.
Sappenin!
That was the most aggressive one I've ever done, I think. You're listening to Sappenin Podcast with Sean Smith and Morgan Richards. Thank you very much for downloading this podcast or streaming it, or I don't know what else you do with podcasts. Thank you very much.